Jake, what can you do right now to try to kickstart this offense after two bad performances?
Yeah, well, one thing is we just got to get back to fundamentals and just keep trying to build that confidence back up. We played two good opponents. They got after us pretty well, and we got another tough task ahead of us right now. So we need to just get back to the fundamentals and just start blocking better, catching better, running routes better, throwing better. We got to get better at everything.
Staying in the back, Mike.
On Saturday, it seemed like the offense was going side to side, a lot of screen passes, a lot of short passes, not as much downfield. Was that part of the game plan, trying to attack the outsides as much rather than with Cody Pruitt or someone down the field?
Yeah, the initial game plan was to get the run game established and take some of the pressure off of those receivers and Kenny. Once we weren't having much success in the run game, we started distributing the ball out on the perimeter. And a lot of it was we had a lot of schemed up, short, quick, easy completions. One, to get the ball out of Kenny's hands because they got a good defensive line, had a good pass rush, and one just to, hopefully have a kid have an opportunity to catch a quick ball and make a play on a guy and get some yardage off of that. But, they did a great job of keeping it in front of us, and they tackled well, and we sputtered at times.
We'll go to the back with Daryl.
Coach, what do you change up this week after the way – because Alabama's going to see what Mississippi State did and see what Ole Miss did. What do you change up to kind of give you guys a little bit of an advantage?
Yeah, one thing is after every game we're going to evaluate, our personnel and who's going to put us in the best position to succeed. And we're definitely looking at other positions, and we're going to practice a lot of other guys. But, I think we got to keep getting, pretty creative and try to move and shake a little bit because, at times when we line up and we can't run the ball very well or, just out of base looks, we got to get creative and get these guys in some misdirection stuff.
Over here on the left side, Suzanne, bringing it behind you.
Hey, Jake, it's midseason now. Can you assess Kenny's performance through 6 games? I notice he is second in the country in passing yards, but y'all have lost 2 games, and sometimes offense has been inconsistent. So can you assess?
Yeah, I think Kenny keeps getting better each week. He did make some mistakes in this past game. Of course, you want to eliminate the turnovers, but I thought he was pretty accurate going into the game. And again, we made it where there were some easy completions. He completed 42 balls in this game. But, I think Kenny is, it's such a young team out on the perimeter, and he's still building that continuity with them. And, and there's still a lot of growing pains with these guys, that he is a first-year starter right here. So, I think Kenny is playing decent right now. And, we got to just keep getting better and just keep having him learn from bad experiences.
Go to Zach, and then we'll go to Sam.
Coach, obviously one of the bright spots of last Saturday was Speedy Noel in the game that he played. How important is it to get the ball in his hands, and a great athlete like he is?
Yeah, definitely. That was a part of the game plan. It was, to establish the run game and see how many times Speedy can touch the ball. And we tried to do that at times. Yeah, I think he's a dynamic guy. He's still young. He's still learning the offense. You can't put too much on him. So you saw us implement a couple of packages where he was at the slot receiver position, and I can tell you that his role is going to keep evolving into other positions and other different things. But he's a guy that we got to get touches every single week.
Seated in the last row on the left, Sam.
Jake, with this offense, can some of the struggles with the receivers in the passing game be attributed just to youth with so many young receivers and a first-time starter at quarterback?
At times, there's a lot of things with it. There's a lot of things that go into the receiver position that's not just catching. I thought we didn't do a very good job blocking on the perimeter, and I think we got beat at times. But they are a young team, like out on the perimeter, and as for a receiver standpoint. But they just got to keep getting better and still build that continuity and still get that game experiences, because there's some things that you can't coach. They got to go out there and learn on their own. But I wouldn't say it's too much on youth, but maybe a little.
Here in the front, Brent.
Two-parter here. Was there any thought to turning to Kyle late in the game, just for experience sake, for instance, with the game out of hand? And the second part is, what do you have to do? And I know there's not an easy answer to this, but to get your offensive line blocking better.
Right. No, we never thought about putting Kyle in the game. I thought Kenny, the things that stick out to everybody around here is that, the turnovers. But I thought he was operating it efficiently, and he was completing passes. So, especially when we got into the fourth quarter, he was rolling pretty good, and we had our most offensive production in that fourth quarter. And we had about 200 yards in the fourth quarter alone. So, that never crossed our mind. And with the offensive line, it's just we got to get down to a lot of things. Get back to fundamentals, like I've been saying, and also we need to put them in better positions with our scheme. And our personnel and what they can do good, what they do good at, and what we can handle up front. So, I've been up there with Coach Anderson, and we're up there trying to scheme away on ways to put our kids in a good position and what they're capable of handling.
Left side.
Even though obviously Kenny is the starter, you do have at least one other really, really highly touted quarterback on your roster. You're getting another next year. And I guess my question is, even as he's the starter, what do you do during the week, not on Saturday, but during the week, to keep your non-starting quarterbacks kind of involved and ready and also committed to the program? I
rep them a lot. I let them get reps with the ones and with the twos throughout the entire week. And, I'm only repping 2 quarterbacks, so, it's pretty hard for Kenny to rep, a ton of plays. So it's actually valuable experience when you have only 2 quarterbacks where Kyle can get in there and operate the system with the ones and the twos. So we do put a big emphasis on that. And, there's some times where if I want to take off of Kenny's arms, I'll let him Kyle throw the entire 7-on-7 series. So, there's a lot of things with what we do with the quarterback, but Kyle does get a ton of reps and a lot with the ones as well.
Seat in the back left, KO.
Coach, can you give me a general overview on Alabama? And then specifically, is there one thing that you're most concerned about?
Alabama, they're a great defense. They take pride in defense over there. I was reading a couple stats on them earlier that, I think they've held 31 teams in the past 100 games under 200 yards, and I think they've held 63 teams under 300 yards. So, they definitely take pride. I think their front is they're big, physical. They're not as fast as Ole Miss, and they're not as big as Mississippi State. So it's a pretty good hybrid mix of them. They try to have speed, agility, and be big enough to hold double teams. Their linebacker core is pretty strong as well. I think their front 7 is pretty good. The back end, you can tell that they're still trying to find some answers with their corners. They're playing a lot of them. They're moving guys in and out. There seems to be new guys each series, based on how they're playing in that certain drive. But it's definitely going to be a tough task. It always is. It's going to be a great environment to go there, and I think our kids are ready to try to get back out there and prove that we can actually move the ball a bit.
Go Olin and then Cease and then Gabe.
Jake, actually Brent addressed what I was going to ask you, so I'll just kind of different approach. And do y'all feel like up until last week that you were getting what you wanted out of the offensive line? And if so, is it just kind of, do you look at that a one-time thing and maybe Ole Miss just had a great day, or how do you look at that?
Well, we knew that Ole Miss has a talented defensive line. They do. They got they have a lot of speed, and their size is pretty unique as well. And we knew it was going to be a tough task at hand, but at the same time, we got to keep coaching these kids every single week. And that's something I know that Coach Anderson has addressed multiple times already with his offensive line about their play on Saturday, and that the best thing to do is just still create a culture of competition, and you're going to see other guys rep throughout the week, and just to make sure that they're giving full effort, and we're going to put the best five that we got out there for Saturday. At times, yeah. There's still a lot of unknowns. There was a lot of unknowns just going into the season with it. Jarvis wasn't in for the first 2 games of the season. Said it's his first time at left tackle. It's our first time for Fetty at right tackle, and you had Grambling and Cheek moving in and out. We knew there was a consistency with Mike. We knew what we got out of Mike, and the rest we just was a lot of unknowns. So, it's something that as the season goes on, we still got to figure out who's the guys that are going to put us in the best position out there and to protect Kenny and establish the run game.
Cease, and we'll wrap up with Gabe.
Coach, you got the clear back, and when you get Kennedy back, is an option to shorten up the wide receiver rotation to get the guys out there that maybe are more productive late in the season? Is that an option?
Yeah, definitely. It's in Cam's role. The injury with him kind of held him back a bit, but we're slowly more able to play him more and more plays. So that definitely you want to get Cam on as much as you can, and that will at least take one receiver off the field and give him a break. Last week with the receivers, we ended up moving a lot of people around with Malcolm out. If you notice that Ricky moved out to Malcolm's position, and we moved Boone over to Ricky's position, and we just started mixing and matching receivers and just try to put our best guys out there that we think that can help us win the game. So, yeah, definitely with Malcolm back and with Cam's role keeping with him getting more and more healthy and we can get him out on the field more, it's definitely going to help the rotation of the receivers.
Finish up with Gabe.
If I can ask you about two different receivers. First, Malcolm, with this game and his history in that venue, how difficult is it to get him to tell you the truth? How difficult is it going to be to keep him off the field? And how early until you go a corner route in the north end zone?
Well, hopefully early and often. But, with Malcolm, you got to be careful with Malcolm because he's always going to tell you that he's fine and that he can play. And, he's like a machine. You kind of believe him at times because he's so tough, but you have to listen to the doctors on the progress of Malcolm because he dislocated his shoulder and he's still trying to play the week after it happened, which I've never seen that before. But the kid's very motivated. He knows it's his senior year and he wants to get every play that he can here at Texas A&M, and especially in these moments, and hopefully he can create more moments like that Alabama one.
With Ricky, he's kind of been criticized a little bit. Obviously, he's had some drops, some things like that. But 17 catches in 2 days, in 2 games in a row for a guy that some people say isn't playing well. How would you evaluate Ricky's performance?
Ricky is still he's young. Like I keep saying that, but he's still playing at a high level. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to drop some balls at times, and maybe miss some blocks. But the thing is, the kid gives great effort and he competes all the time. And I'm very pleased with where he's at. I have that much confidence in him that I moved him over to Malcolm's position, and I don't know how many catches. I think he had 9 catches in this past game, which is definitely a comfort zone for Kenny to get the ball to.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.